Welcome to Trust the Podcast. This is our first episode. I'm Jonah, along with my co-host Noah, and today we're going to be talking about several topics in the sports world of Philadelphia. This is a Philadelphia-centered podcast. We're talking about Philadelphia. We're going to go to the Phillies game. We're going to go to the Flyers draft, which is ongoing. We're going to go to the Sixers draft from Wednesday and Thursday. We're going to go some Phillies and Sixers hot takes, and we're going to round it off with our top 10 Philadelphia athletes.
Very interesting list.
It's going to be a fun show. A lot of disagreement, a lot of good discussion.
Yeah. Not at all like on ESPN. Real content.
No hot takes that we don't believe. We're not rage baiting.
For tens of years, Philadelphia has been making the wrong sports decisions until one man came into the league with 3 words that changed the course of history.
Trust the process.
So there was a Phillies game last night.
Yes.
And it was a good one compared to the Astros series, which they were outscored a combined 5-1.
You have to truly be so bad that it's almost good to score like one run over a 3-game series. Like, it is a skill to be that cold for an MLB team. I think we should be proud of a good team being that bad. But this game felt like it was like 5 games overdue. I mean,
this game didn't feel real, to be honest. Like, we knew going in that the Braves starter wasn't good.
Yeah.
We knew going in that Tanner Banks was going to be, like, fine for 2 innings because he's been pretty consistent this year, surprisingly. He's been, like, the Phillies' 4th or 5th best reliever, which is a little bit sad. But I think that going into this game, I had honestly no idea what to expect. I didn't expect 13-0. But I expected the Phillies to be able to come back. And now on the road trip, the Phillies have outscored their opponents a combined 14-5. So
yeah, it does feel a bit surreal because it doesn't feel like it made up for the sweep. But it feels like I feel like normally I would be so positive about a performance like this, but it comes off of such a terrible performance, like almost an embarrassing performance because it was such a waste of good pitching that it was really like I felt okay. I feel better than I did yesterday.
Me as well, because I finally saw someone other than Trey Turner hit the ball. I mean, Trey Turner did hit the ball pretty well, but
I mean, four hits, 2 home runs is pretty impressive.
One of them was off a position player, and the game was already over. But pad those stats, I'll take it. It was a pretty fun game to watch. Alan Rangel goes 5 innings to get the save. Is he the real deal?
That must be one of the longest saves in like MLB like Phillies recent history. Like
recent history. I can't remember anything longer than that. But is he the real deal? That's the question.
13 runs is great. The pitching for the Braves sucked. I was more impressed by the bullpen and the not top guys pitching as well as they did.
Taijuan Walker did not allow a run.
I mean, that is going to be the most important thing. Like, obviously the offense needs to show up, but obviously, the offense can show up by scoring 13 runs. Like, they might not always be consistent, but they can be good. We need the bullpen pitching showed it also can be good, and it can even everyone can show up, which everyone did last night.
And I think it's really good for this team. A storyline earlier in the year, like for the first 2 weeks, was that they can't hit starting pitching.
Yeah,
they blew up the Braves starting pitching. Gave Kyle, what was his name? Bryce Elder, not Kyle Wright. Yeah, another bad pitcher for the Braves. Bryce Elder gave up 9 runs in 2 innings, and they got him out of there early. Their OPS against Kyle, or why do I keep saying Kyle Wright? He's another bad Braves pitcher. Mm-hmm. Bryce Elder. Their OPS against Bryce Elder was over 2. Brandon Marsh was hitting. Bryson Stott got a hit. Otto Kemp hit a bomb. Yeah. Everyone was hitting except for Max Kepler, who finally got on the board in the 9th. But it feels really good to just destroy a starter like that.
I mean, if someone came into the year and told you that Otto Kemp would be hitting better than Bryson Stott, would you believe it?
I don't think I would, because I would have asked, who is Otto Kemp? Because he really had a surge in AAA at the beginning of the year. Yeah. Max Kepler. What do you think about him recently?
No, I feel like I hate him, but I don't think he's that bad either. I want him to perform badly so he gets benched, but he's just not a bad player. He's not good. He's not a good player.
He's the definition of average.
Yeah, I appreciate him in a time where we scored 13 runs last night and we scored 1 run over a 3-game series. Average is perfectly Holcomb. But I mean, I won't feel confident in a playoff at bat with him up and players on base.
Me neither, because he's batting .210. We brought him in not to do better than that. Mm-hmm. He has some power. Last year he only hit 14 home runs. This year he's already got about 8 or 9. Mm-hmm. So that's fine, but I would expect more than that from Max Kepler. And at the beginning of the year, he had a really good month, where his OPS was higher than Juan Soto's for quite a stretch. But since May or even the end of April, he has been downright awful. Yeah.
And I think that, not the exact same position, but it brings up the point of when are we going to bring up Crawford? Like, just in chat.
I love Crawford, but I'm on the train of keeping him in the minors for the entire year.
That's where I've sort of been at, where it's like, you're at a tipping point right now where you're either going to bring him up in the next few weeks, or you're just not going to bring him up at all. Because it won't make sense to bring him up later in the year, I think. I mean, it's just sort of weird the way they handled it, because they've been getting nothing from that position.
I mean, but with the way Marsh has been hitting since the beginning of May, he's been crazy. It feels kind of weird to just say he's not the center fielder that we want to have at-bats in the postseason.
Yeah, I know. I just feel like I just don't trust him at all. I just feel like we're going to be watching in the wild card or divisional round, whatever it is, and them just swinging in the dirt.
Well, we're getting that from Nick Castellanos.
Absolutely.
So, and we're okay with that.
Yeah.
But I'm on the train of Max Kepler. If he's going to be average with power, if he's going to be below average with getting on base, then he at least shouldn't complain about his playing time.
Exactly. If he's going to be average, he's going to get average or innings played. But yeah.
But he hasn't. He's been their basically everyday center fielder. Yeah. He hasn't played a lot versus lefties. But the thing is, he hasn't been good versus righties. Why would he be good versus lefties?
Yeah,
that's not how
it's
that
not
works.
like reverse psychology here. Like, it's not gonna make him like better against the opposite. But whatever.
There are some really good players in the MLB who have reverse splits, but Max Kepler is not one of them. No,
absolutely not.
I'm on the train to DFA Max Kepler. If something like that happens again, like his bat isn't good enough to make up for his complaints. Like,
yeah, I think if we trade for an outfielder, I don't think he needs to be included in the trade.
I don't know about even trading him, but like I'd rather trot Rojas out there than Kepler at this point. Like, they're both gonna hit 210. And at least Rojas plays elite defense.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, at least Rojas is fun, and he plays good, and he plays well in the field. Kepler is neither of those.
Max Kepler is average at everything. He's an average batter. He's an average fielder. He's an average base runner.
You know what he's not average at? Complaining.
Yeah, he's way above average at complaining.
Yeah. Okay. Now on to the Sixers. The Sixers drafted this past weekend. They drafted VJ Edgecombe at pick 3.
Let's go. I'm a huge fan of that pick.
Perfect. Did not need to overthink it. Made the right choice. Going to be a great player next year.
I was worried that they were going to take Ace Bailey, and from what I've seen from before the draft and from what I've seen after the draft, so glad they didn't take Ace Bailey.
Yeah, I mean, I was worried Daryl Morey's going to pull a Daryl Morey shenanigans, and like Ace Bailey's going to be coming to Philly. He's not going to be happy about it. He should like sit out training camp or something like that. But now Utah can deal with that, and we have a player who actually cares about basketball. Only cares about basketball. And just wants to be on the court.
I think VJ Edgecombe is a home run pick. I love everything that I've seen about him. He's got great athleticism, great defense. He has a great attitude, which is more important than you may think. Especially in the NBA when stars are becoming divas, sitting out.
Especially in the city with having dealt with Ben
Simmons, yep.
Yeah, and mental issues with Markelle Fultz.
Can tell very easily that this is the mentality that you want from a top pick. VJ Edgecombe has. He came from nothing in the Bahamas, lived off of a generator. I'm sure everyone watching this has seen that quote. Yeah. Just very humble, very, very athletic. And I think he's going to be a stud for years to come.
My only concern is I wouldn't call it a home run pick, just because I don't know if we'll ever get to the point where our young core right now is, for the big three at least, for the young core is Maxey, McCain, and VJ Edgecombe.
Yes.
And I just don't think all three of them are really ever going to be able to play on the same court. They're just too small.
When you run a smaller lineup, you go Maxey, McCain, and Edgecombe, and with Embiid at center, I think that could work. Obviously not all the time, but
can you really put 3 guys on the court who are 6'5" or below?
I think you can when you're trying to up the pace of play, when you're trying to maybe like score like quickly.
Yeah, I could see that. I'm just worried that even McCain and Maxey, they played in short instances last year, and it wasn't a disaster like some people thought it would be. But I just think that VJ Edgecombe is good enough on defense that he could make up for that. I'm just worried about the lack of size.
I think he'll end up playing in the rotation at the 2.
Yeah, I agree.
It'll go Maxey, McCain, somebody at small forward. Will it be George? Will it be, I don't know, Justin Edwards? Yeah. Will it be at power forward? Could it be Kelly Oubre or George?
And then Gershon Yabusele.
Or Gershon Yabusele, who recently bought a house in Pennsylvania. Yes.
So that I mean, it's not definite. It could be like Daryl Morey propaganda he's putting out there, but it is a good sign.
If he thought he was getting traded or getting not picked back up by the Sixers, he would not buy a house in Philly.
You would think so.
At least, yeah.
Or that report's just fake, but it's one of the two.
Yeah, and I think that VJ Edgecombe is going to be a very, very solid rotation player, at least this year, and then in future years he will elevate to being a starting player. But right now I am just so thrilled with the pick, and I'm even more thrilled. Well, not more thrilled about the player, but more thrilled in comparison compared to where they were drafted. Yeah,
I think that the whole situation with Ace Bailey makes me like Ace Bailey like represents everything that's wrong with with basketball in general. I feel like yes, you do want some player empowerment. You don't want players to be like forced to play for teams they just don't want to play for. But it is a honor and a privilege to come into the league, and you shouldn't be like pouting when you're like being drafted.
I think Ace Bailey is just getting some really terrible advice from his agent. I don't know if that's all him. I'm not really familiar with his personality or from when he was at college, but I think he's just getting some really bad advice. That's what I've heard reports of. And I just don't think that's a good way to come into the league. I think VJ Edgecombe is just... Everything I've seen about him has been positive. I'm excited to have him on the Sixers. Yeah. I would not be excited if I was a Utah Jazz fan to have Ace Bailey.
If he ever even shows up.
I guess we'll see.
I mean, the rumor is that his agent is Omar Cooper, Sharif Cooper's dad.
Okay.
And he rumored Omar Cooper ruined Sharif Cooper's draft stock, and he slipped from like a first-round pick to a late second-round pick.
I did not know that. Wow.
Yeah, so it could be that, but what made me think it's also Ace Bailey is that he said he just wanted to focus on basketball coming into the draft, and he was clearly upset by being drafted by the Jazz, which makes you think that it was just a lie. But
so the teams that he said he wanted to go to were what? The Wizards and who else?
Nets.
The Nets. I mean, why would you want to go there? But
money.
Yeah, I guess so. But I mean, you can't do that
unless
you are like the
LeBron James.
Yeah, unless you're LeBron James, unless you're going to be the best ever, you can't do that.
You need to prove yourself. You need to make the teams want you.
Exactly. If Ace Bailey was a good enough player to which the Sixers would have taken him despite the character issues, that is the skill of a player who can do that. But Ace Bailey is just simply not good enough to do that.
Though, on the other hand, if Ace Bailey turns out to be a star, it's going to look really bad that like some minor character issues from mostly his agent forced us not to draft him, and he could be a star on the Sixers.
He definitely could be a star, and that's, I think, the gamble that Morey was taking, but I think the likelihood that he will be a star compared to someone who just fizzles out in a couple years, who never could make the jump to the NBA, who his character issues told the story of his career, I think that is much more likely than him actually becoming a star.
Yeah, I just think that VJ gave us a much higher floor when it comes to the draft pick.
Absolutely, 100%.
I think it's what this team needs if it wants to compete now or even in the future without Embiid or George. So it should be interesting to see how VJ fits into the lineup.
I am very excited about VJ Edgecombe. Yeah. I'm very excited about the direction that the Sixers are going. Obviously, I wish they could have traded Paul George, got off his contract, but that was pretty unrealistic anyway. But VJ at pick number 3, he was the number 1 player on my wish list. He was
obviously
he was my 3rd ranked player in the draft. But now that we have VJ Edgecombe on the Sixers, I disagree with my earlier thoughts now knowing about VJ's mentality, his attitude going into the season. But if I was thinking about this before the draft, that I would have wished that they maybe traded back, got off of Paul George's contract with maybe the Jazz or the Nets, and
or the
Wizards, yeah, and selected someone else like Malawach, Knipple, but I mean Knipple went 4, so that was unrealistic. But someone like Malawach, maybe even go further back to the Pelicans pick, get Derek Queen. Mm-hmm. But now that the Sixers have VJ Edgecombe, I'm thrilled.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say it's a perfect like A-, B+ draft pick. Like you did what you're supposed to do. Nothing special. You pick the right player. That's all was needed there. Nothing special or extra.
So you gave VJ Edgecombe an A-, B+, but a player who I'm giving much more than that, an A+ is the Sixers second round pick, Johni Broome.
And I am
fantastic pick.
And I am giving it a C- because I think it was a terrible pick.
It's controversial, but Johni Broome has the tools that it takes to be successful in the NBA.
But not for what we need him to do.
He could play the 4 alongside Embiid if need be.
He could, but like, what does he provide to the team? Like, he's not going to be strong. Like, he used his strength too much in college, I felt like. And that just, I don't think translates to the NBA because you're going to have the best athletes in the world. You're not going to have future, like finance people playing defense against you. I mean, you're in the pros. Like, what works on Joe Schmo isn't going to work on like LeBron or Giannis. He's not a good athlete. He doesn't protect like the rim well enough, and I just don't see what he adds to the team.
He is NBA ready right now. He is a top 5 NBA ready player in the draft. He can contribute immediately.
He's old. That doesn't make him NBA ready.
He is NBA ready. He was the best player in the NCAA last year. He was a top 3 player in the NCAA for the past 3 years.
Yeah,
something like that. He was just really good for the last 3 years. He is a good defender. He can score. He's a great leader. He brought his team to the Final Four. Mm-hmm. I just think he can contribute immediately. I think he's going to be very solid for the Sixers in their rotation.
The problem is that those type of college players who are really good but aren't great athletes, like Luka Garza, just don't translate well to the NBA. Like Luka Garza can average 40 in the G League, but he can't do it in the NBA. And I'm worried Johni Broome's going to go down the exact same path.
I could see a world where Johni Broome averages like 10 and 9. And I would take that out of him.
But, I don't think in the non-Embiid minutes, which is going to be much more of this year.
Yes.
If he's playing, I think he has to play the 4.
I think I would be fine with him playing alongside Bona in the non-Embiid.
Yeah, because I think if he's playing the 5, especially in the bench rotation, the defense is not going to be good enough. And that's the main problem. We had Paul Reed playing center as backup. They would just get killed in the non-Embiid minutes because it's their defense. They just couldn't get a rebound. They just couldn't do anything on defense. They couldn't protect the rim at all. And I think that's why Adembona is perfect for the backup center. So if Johni Broome plans to play the 4 alongside Adembona or whatever he does, I just don't think he can be our center at any point during a game.
I think that he could be a center if they're running a small lineup, but very rarely I wouldn't want him as the center. I agree with that. While I do think that he is a fantastic pick, I would not want him as the center. I would want him playing alongside Embiid or alongside Bona at the 4.
I also think my problem with the pick is that it was too high for him, and there was a player who I had clearly better available still, and a need we needed, which was Adu Thiero, who is a wing, excellent on defense. And if he could improve his shot a little bit, he would be a great rotational 3-and-D wing, which we desperately need, where we don't really need another big man.
He's not a great shooter, and I mean there were rumors of the Sixers taking a big man. I would have been in the first round. I would have been fine with them taking Malawach. I would have been fine with them taking Derek Queen. So I don't see a problem with taking a big man. But what I do like about Johni Broome is that he has a lot of success.
I do appreciate that. He is not a loser, which I don't want any more of.
No more losers on the Sixers. We already have too many of those, and his name is Paul George.
Yes.
I just really like the direction that the Sixers are going with both of these picks. I grade this draft an A easily.
I give the draft a B because I felt that the first pick was very good. I just felt if your plan was to take Johni Broome, you could have traded back 5 or 6 picks and just added on a future second rounder somewhere and just gotten him a few picks later. I just didn't think 35 is a premium pick. Like, it's almost a first rounder, and I just don't think you take. He's too low of a floor for me to take him there. I think he could be out of the league in 3 years.
I think the Sixers have the ability with where they are right now. They have some pretty good depth for a team that won like 20 games last year. That they have the ability to take a swing on Janai Broom, who could end up being a very, very good player.
I agree.
All right. So moving on, another team just drafted, the Philadelphia Flyers. They are in the process of drafting. It is currently the 6th or 7th round of the NHL as of recording this. And the Flyers went into this draft with a ton of picks.
So many.
They traded one of those picks in the second round for Trevor Zegras.
Yes.
Earlier this week. They went in
Great trade.
Excellent trade. I love where the Flyers are going with Trevor Zegras. They have a lot of skilled players with Matvei Mishkov, Trevor Zegras, Travis Konechny, who may be a little bit smaller, but what they addressed in this draft really fixes that lack of size. Because in the first round with pick 6, they took Porter Martone, who I think is really, really amazing. He's the number one winger on my board, and he could play alongside Mishkov for 12 years.
Yeah, I think this was more of a long-term pick than it was a short-term pick. I mean, their wings are already pretty stocked up for now.
Yeah, they have like a top 5 winger position group in the NHL, and they were one of the worst teams last year.
Yeah, I think that like Konechny's not going to be around forever, and this could be a really excellent young wing core, especially off the first line.
Yeah, I mean, it remains to be seen of Konechny's decline. He was really, really good last year, about as good as a winger on a really bad team can be. And he's under contract until he's in his mid-30s, so I'm really excited to see what this group of wingers does. My only problem with this is James Higgins was my number 3 player on the entire board, and he fell to the Flyers at number 6. I would have really liked to see him, especially with the positional need, but Porter Martone was my number 5 player on the board. I think the Flyers get a steal. Well, not necessarily a steal, but a very good pick at pick 6. He's a power forward. He has size. He has skill. He needs to work on his skating a little bit, but I think he is going to be excellent.
This is your perfect B+ pick. Right move, maybe not the best move, but certainly not a bad pick. And I think it will work out well, especially in the next 5-10 years.
I mean, yeah, he's going to be a really good player. I just think James Higgins has the potential to be one of the best players in the NHL.
And then their second pick, they traded back up to 12.
Jack Nesbitt. I really wanted the Flyers to go back up into the top 12 and get a center. I did not expect it to be Jack Nesbitt. I didn't really want it to be Jack Nesbitt. I would have liked Roger McQueen, but he did go pick 10, so they didn't really have the opportunity to get him.
I mean, I just think that if you're going to trade up for a player and then reach on a player, why trade up that much? Like, you could have traded back like up less picks, like 4 less picks or so. It's still gotten him. I just don't think it's worth paying the premium to reach.
Yeah, they gave up pick 22 and 31.
Yeah, like
for pick 12.
Like, maybe you could trade up to 16 or 17, because I just think that this team needs young players, and if you're just gonna like reach on someone, don't waste high picks for that.
I mean, I like Jack Nesbitt. I would have been fine with the Flyers taking him at 22, and Danny Briere isn't stupid. Yeah. Trading up for pick 12, obviously he was gonna go before 22. So I'm fine with trading up for him if he was their guy. I'm fine with trading up. Not a fan of giving up both first-round picks for him, but honestly, they took Porter Martone, who's going to be amazing. The first round was really good for the Flyers.
Yeah.
Jack Nesbitt, he's 6'5", he's really strong, he's big, he's got a good shot. He could work on his skating a little bit, but another power forward we're really seeing the Flyers' future plan surrounding their smaller players like Zegras, Mishkov, Konechny, and then maybe Shabanov, who they may sign from Russia, who I really like. Surrounding them with bigger power forwards, physical players who can also score and have skill. I think that's a great plan. Jack Nesbitt, I'm perfectly fine with them taking a swing on somebody who has a high ceiling, even if he has a low floor, because they already got Porter Martone.
I think the next steps are getting a goalie who can actually play well.
Yeah, I heard rumors about Pyotr Kochetkov from the Canes. Would love it. I would give up a lot for for a good goalie.
Yeah.
If the Flyers get a goalie, I see no reason why they can't make the playoffs this year.
Exactly. Like that, I feel like it's such an important position that with how bad their goalie play was last year, there's never going to be good without a decent goalie.
They had 3 goalies within the rotation consistently last year. Urson, Fedotov, and Kolosov. And all 3 of those goalies were among the 10 worst goalies in the NHL by statistics last year.
Yeah, I mean, you got to do better than that. Obviously, wasn't the most ideal situation they were thrown into, but now they've had plenty of time to deal with it, and they need to step it up.
I mean, they have good goalies in the system, Zavragin and Bjarnson, but they're obviously too young. Bjarnson will just join the AHL for the first time this year, so I think they just need a bridge player. I'm a big fan of Zavragin over from Russia, but they need somebody in transition, and even getting somebody for long term like Kochekov. He's 26 or 27 years old. I'd like him a lot, but like last year, it was just really bad. Yeah. I think Urson can only be good in the backup role. He was good when He Who Shall Not Be Named was the Flyers goalie. He was good in that backup role. He's really good, and I expect him to be able to take a step up when thrust into being a starter. He wasn't that. I think when he returns to a backup role, if the Flyers are able to maybe pick up Alex Lyon, the former Flyer, from free agency, or like I said, Kochetkov. I think Urson is a fine backup goalie, but Kolosov can go wherever. I don't really care. Yeah. And then in the second round, the Flyers grab 4 players. They go Carter Amico, really big defenseman. I like him. I think it's a good pick. He's physical. He's the biggest player in the entire draft. 6'6", over 225 pounds. I like him a lot. Not a scorer. Don't expect him to score any amount of points, but I do like him. I think the Flyers need some physicality.
Yeah, they need to bring back the broad street bullies like Motto and just like Honecker and style of playing. I just think that they're never going to be the most skilled team.
I mean, you're the UFC guy. You saw the Flyers hired a former UFC fighter.
I saw that
to coach up their fighting.
Yeah, I mean, interesting tactic. I feel like it's more of a like scare tactic than it is for actual hockey
I mean, Mishkov's never going to be dropping the gloves with anyone, but
it would be really fun.
It would be a little funny. See this 5'10" Russian kid just try to take on somebody. I mean, Konechny likes to fight.
Yeah, I mean, it would be interesting, but I don't think it would work out very well for Mishkov.
And then they go into the second round. They take 2 more forwards. They go with Jack Martag and Shane Van Sage. I like both of these guys. They fit another the 4 picks that the Flyers made that were forwards are all power forwards. They have the same play type. Well, 2 of them are wingers and 2 of them are centers. They're all big. They're all over 6'2". They're all over 200 pounds. It's really clear what the Flyers' plan is with surrounding their talent. They know Mishkov's going to be the face of the franchise for the next 15 years. But the problem is he's small, and they don't have anybody who's big and skilled. They're trying to combine size and skill. Jack Martag, I like him a lot, can score. Just all these guys that they get who are big need to work on their skating. It's the complete opposite of Jet Lachenko last year, who they drafted with a mid-first round pick. He's one of the best skaters in the league, just small.
Yeah, I think that if they can improve, they need physicality to cover up for some of their smaller guys, but they also need guys who aren't just like brutes and can actually play I can actually skate and play good defense, good offense, and like be good all around. Because I just think that if you separate skill and size, it won't work out for you. And I think they have a promising future.
Yeah, I think the second round was really great. The first round, obviously, they got their guy Martone, but the second round, I think they nailed every single pick. And I'm really excited to see where they go. In the 5th round, they just drafted another guy. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name, but I think he has a lot of upside. I think the Flyers nailed this year's draft, and they've nailed the draft week with trading for Trevor Zegras as well.
Yeah, I think they just need a goalie now, and they can actually make a run at a playoff spot. But if they don't get a goalie, I'm interested to see what path they take, because there actually not as much tanking as bad in the NHL. But I just don't think they're going to be able to compete without a good goalie, and I don't know what they do. They're going to be stuck in that bowl spot if they don't.
I mean, a generational prospect is coming up. I doubt the Flyers are even going to be in a position to be in a lottery to get him. But Gavin McKenna is going to be the real deal, and he's a center, which the Flyers need. There's no chance they get him. They're too good to be competing for the first overall pick. But I really love what Danny Briere and Keith Jones are doing right now. Here's a list of the Flyers wingers core and their age. Porter Martone, 18 years old. Matvei Michkov, 20 years old. Tyson Forster, 23 years old. Travis Konechny is their oldest winger, 28 years old. That's still young. Tippett, 26. Bobby Brink is 23. They just drafted Shane Van Sage. He's 18. And Shabanov, who likely is coming over from Russia, is 24 years old. That is one of the best winger position groups in the NHL. Absolutely love where the Flyers are going.
Yeah, I know. It sums it up well.
It's just really great.
I'd give the overall draft an A-, I think.
It's not over yet, but it's really hard to mess up a 7th round pick that bad. I would also agree with an A-. Love Martone, just would have preferred Higgins.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're going to go on to a segment. I have some Phillies hot takes that I came up with. He's got some Sixers hot takes that he came up with. We're going to read them to each other and see what we think. So let's go back and forth. I'll do Phillies, you do Sixers. All right. My first Phillies hot take. Left field is a bigger problem than center field.
Ooh, I agree somewhat, especially with Marsh stepping up recently. But I don't know. I mean, I guess it's tough because Kepler is Kepler.
Yeah.
But I think that especially with Crawford right on the cusp of playing the majors, I see where you're coming from, and I think that's a reasonable take. Especially if he gets called up this year.
And I think that Marsh... I mean, it really depends on what we do at the trade deadline. But say the Phillies trade for one of two guys or even both, because I don't think that one of them is going to cost very much.
Yeah.
But imagine they get Jarren Duran and Taylor Ward. Taylor Ward and Marsh could platoon in left, and Jarren Duran is your full-time center fielder. I think that fixes the offense immediately.
Yeah, I think that...
And DFA Kepler.
Obviously, or throw him in with a trade or somewhere. But I just think that, especially long term, the problem is definitely left field because I just don't see where the future of that position is going necessarily.
Yeah, Crawford is a good hitter. He gets on base. Mm-hmm. He's got great average. He doesn't have that much pop, but neither does anybody on the Phillies other than like Schwarber, Turner, Harper.
Yeah.
So, and he plays great defense. So I'm 100% on left field being a bigger problem than center field. And Marsh has played every position in the outfield, but right now he's their best outfielder hitting wise. I mean, Castellanos is great, but Marsh is hitting 340 since the beginning of May.
Okay, on to my first Sixers hot take. Tyrese Maxey will make an all-NBA team next year.
Okay, I could see it. Definitely not first team.
No.
But I think a second or third team, he's really good. And if the Sixers are a good team, more attention will be brought to Maxey. And especially if Embiid doesn't play. If he does, obviously he's their star player. But Maxey, super young, now has the guard trio, including and maybe a quartet with Edgecombe, but they have Grimes, they have McCain, they have Maxey.
Hopefully we'll have Grimes.
Yeah, I mean... He is restricted free agent, so send him a qualifying offer. But
I just think that assuming Embiid plays next year, which looks like he will, I assume it will be pretty similar to a Kawhi-esque role. They saw the same doctor.
Yeah, he's not going to play a lot.
He's going to play hopefully a fair amount of games, and I think that when he does play, it will be no more than 30 minutes a night. And I think this leads an opportunity for where in the past, when Embiid was out, he had to be the focal point of the offense. I don't think he'll have to do that to the same degree with the help of Embiid and George, hopefully. And I think that he'll be able to get more open looks and be able to become a 30-point-a-game scorer.
I definitely can see this happening. I think the one thing Maxey needs to do is become more efficient. Last year, a lot, he was just putting up shots that were not good. He was missing a lot of shots. Bad field goal percentage for some portion of the year. To be an All-NBA player, he needs to be more efficient.
And I think with Embiid and George coming back, that will lead to a more efficient Maxey because he will have more open looks.
Absolutely. All right. I think that that is a very solid take with Maxey becoming an All-NBA player. I mean, he was close when he was healthy,
kind of.
I mean, he was an all-star caliber player. He didn't make it, but he should have. All right, my second Phillies all hot take: Trey Turner should be the All-Star Game starter for the NL at shortstop.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I just think that look, the shortstop position is good in the National League, but I just don't think anyone's better than Trey Turner, especially how hot he's been lately.
Yeah.
I just think that he's hot at the right time. He has a probably bigger name, and I just think he's more talented than any of those other guys.
I mean, this is more of a complaint about like the All-Star voting than it is about Mookie Betts. But Mookie Betts, his OPS is sub 750, and he became an All-Star finalist over Trey Turner, whose OPS is over 800. Trey Turner is the only shortstop who's batting 300 in the NL. He has been hitting for power. He leads the league in hits. He leads the league in average for shortstops. He gets on base a lot. He's had the power surge, and he's really been the best player on the Phillies since Bryce Harper got injured. And Lindor, he's not batting close to 300. He does have more home runs than Trey Turner, but Trey Turner's OPS is in the same spot. Trey Turner is the best shortstop in the NL. He's been a surprisingly good fielder this year. I know watching the games it doesn't seem like it, but he's able to provide some value in the field with his speed and his range. And obviously, he's an amazing base runner.
Yeah, I think the only reason he's probably not in the finals is because of the Dodgers bias that exists.
Yeah, well, Trey Turner was either third or fourth. Ellie De La Cruz also deserves a shout for the starter, but he wasn't a finalist either. I think my top two would be Trey and Ellie De La Cruz, and neither of them made it.
It's kind of weird. I mean, I just think it's because the Dodgers are just the biggest team by far, I think, and they just want to get as many players on the All-Star team.
I mean, there are a lot of really great shortstops in the NL. Like C.J. Abrams was having a fantastic season. Lindor is having a really good season. Like I know he's not having as good of a season as Trey, but like Lindor's good. Mookie Betts would be like fifth for me.
Yeah,
and
I just don't see a world where he's a finalist.
Like he's a Hall of Famer, but he's not this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
My next pick, pretty much more of a negative take than a positive one. Justin Edwards will be starting by the end of the year. I think that probably.
I guess that is more of a negative take because that has some implications about Paul George.
It is implying that Paul George will probably not be starting by the end of the year. He will be hurt or just like gone. Bad. I don't think they'll bench him if he's healthy. I just think that there's a world where Paul George just shows up and has just quit basketball more or less. I think there's also a world where he's really good, but I just think that like Justin Edwards is hungry, just got a new contract. I think there's a world where he comes back, just like keeps on improving, and Paul George is like, I really just don't care anymore. He's just here to get a paycheck.
He's here for podcasts and paychecks.
Yeah, I mean, we should like. He should be go to jail for fraud at this point for how much money he's stolen, because he is nothing what we would have thought him to be. And I think there is a world where he is mad about all the hate against him and he comes back with vengeance, but it's much more likely that he just gives up and is like, I'm never gonna win a championship, I'm never gonna be that great, and he just like collects his money, gets like dumped in the offseason, like salary dumped.
Yeah, and I think he's just gonna fizzle out of the NBA. Like both, I mean, this may be a coincidence. It more than likely is a coincidence. But both teams that just made the NBA Finals were completely built off of trading Paul George.
Yeah, I mean, like it's probably. I mean, it could be a good sign for us if we trade him.
Yeah, no one wants him anymore.
No.
Fool me once, like...
Fool me twice.
Yeah.
And fool me a third time.
Fool me a third time,
I just think that he's probably just never going to be the same again. And Justin Edwards, I mean, Jeff Teague said he's already better than Ace Bailey.
He is.
Which I somewhat agree with. And I just think that even if they're that good... There could be a world where he starts in the 4, or Paul George starts in the 4, he starts in the 3. If he's just that good, I'm really high on him. I think he'd have an excellent year.
There are not enough good things that I can say about Justin Edwards. So I love the positive take on Justin Edwards. Not a big fan of saying Paul George is going to be bad, but I agree.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously saw that he was supposed to be a top 10 pick before his 1 year of college. He was a top high school recruit, and the Kentucky system messed him up, and he went undrafted. Like that number, that top 10 pick guy still exists, and we're starting to see it.
He was incredible down the stretch.
Yes,
like going to a Sixers game at the end of the year when their best player was Gershon Yabusele and Quentin Grimes. Mm-hmm. Justin Edwards shined. Like,
yeah.
All right, My third take, probably the most outrageous of the three so far.
My next one's also my most outrageous.
If the Phillies make the playoffs, which should happen, the Wheeler should start game 1, obviously, and the starter for game 2 should be Ranger Suarez.
No.
Yes, because Ranger has the most playoff experience of any pitcher other than like Nola, but Nola stinks. Other than Nola, Ranger has the most playoff experience. He closed out Game 5 of the NLCS to send the Phillies to the World Series. And you may argue Sanchez, and while I think Sanchez is great, Sanchez, he throws harder than Ranger, but Ranger allows much less hard contact. Ranger is
he's a ground ball pitcher.
He's in the 99th percentile of MLB pitchers in allowing ground balls hard and allowing soft contact. I think that's something you need out of a starter. Like one bad pitch and a playoff game changes, but when you don't allow hard contact, that one pitch is going to come less often.
I think he has a good style for the playoffs, but sort of a counter hot take. I think Nola will be starting game 2 by the end of the year, and he will come back and he will look really good. I think he had a bad start, but I sense a good. I feel like it's good he's taking this time off.
I agree.
Where they say it's an injury, it's not.
It is. I think it is.
They'll say that. But
I think it's a lingering thing like Harper.
Yeah, it could be that. I also just think maybe the mental state is not great right now. He just needs a break to reset almost. And I think that he could come back and be old Aaron Nola.
I really hope so, but I think that what has him out now, he just got put on the 60-day.
Yeah, I know.
It's going to be lingering. I think you can't throw a pitcher who just got off the 60-day into a playoff series.
It won't be just back. I mean, he should have at least a month.
A month? Okay. Yeah. Well, I still think it's got to be Ranger. Right now, he's the second best pitcher on the Phillies. Since coming back from that first start where he allowed like a ton of runs.
Yeah.
He has a sub-2 ERA, and he has been lights out in every game he started. I just think he has to be he's the second best starter, and why would you not put the second best starter in for a playoff series?
I will go even more bold for my next hot take. VJ Edgecombe will look better than Jared McCain by the end of next year. And McCain will have I would go with a difficult start to the year next year.
I could see McCain having a difficult slump to the year. Start to the year with a bit of a sophomore slump coming off the injury, not adjusting well, coming back to playing with Embiid, playing with George Maxey. I could see that. And I think Edgecombe is going to have a relatively easy transition into the NBA. But I just think McCain, I feel like if knowing what we know about McCain from last year, if he was drafted this year, he would have been the third pick. Or even the second pick.
Maybe.
Like, I just think he's such a great talent, amazing shooter. He has the attitude that you need to come back from an injury like that took you out. When did he get injured? December? January?
He only played like 20 or so games.
So I think he has just been like a big part of the Sixers this year. Like, he was their draft correspondent at the draft. He was their draft correspondent at the lottery. Like, I have a hard time thinking that he's not going to be a big part of the Sixers. Like, I could see a tough start to the year, but by the end of the year, I think Jared McCain is going to be there starting too. And Edgecombe's coming off the bench.
Assuming that they re-sign Grimes, I think that McCain will not be starting. I think it suits him better to be a six-man. And I feel like Jared McCain got a lot of hype at the beginning of last year because how bad the team was and how good he was. But I really just don't know how he'll look on a good team without as much volume. And like, he was really good. Like, this injury is not a small injury.
No.
Like, who knows if it's stunted his development at all? I'm just worried that we rode into the hype train a little bit too much, and he might be shooting 30% from three when we start next year. Everyone's gonna be panicking, and VJ Edgecombe will be averaging 12 points a game, and it's just looking like a very solid player.
So I understand, but I disagree.
Okay.
All right. So this is kind of in conjunction with my last one about Ranger Suarez starting game 2, and that is moving Christopher Sanchez to the bullpen come playoff time.
No.
So you run a 4-man playoff rotation. Yeah. I assume Abel will be traded, hopefully, for an outfielder.
or he at least will not be starting.
Yeah, he'll be in the bullpen as well as one of the starters. But the 4-man rotation will be obviously Wheeler. I would want Suarez.
Yeah.
I would want Luzardo. And I would want Nola. I have a really hard time putting Nola in the bullpen because they need a lefty. Because no Alvarado. So that narrows it down to Suarez, Sanchez, and Luzardo. And I would already have Suarez starting. He doesn't allow hard contact. He goes deeper into games than Sanchez. And that's another thing about Luzardo compared to Sanchez. Luzardo goes deeper into games than Sanchez. Sanchez hasn't pitched 100 pitches since, I don't even know when. But Luzardo pitched 100 pitches in his most recent start. I think the guy who throws gas, like Christopher Sanchez, but can't go deep into games is more suited for the bullpen.
I think what we will end up seeing is more of a platoon fourth starter between Sanchez and Luzardo. I mean, more teams don't do this, but I don't see why they shouldn't just put Sanchez out there for 4 innings and have Luzardo come out there for 4 as well.
I mean, if it's a home game, I have no problem with that because Sanchez has insane splits on home and the road. I would never pitch Sanchez in a road play.
I agree with that. But I think if they are the home team, let's say in the divisional round, they're hosting games 3 and 4. He should start game 4. I think in that situation he starts game 4, and I think it's one of those situations where as soon as he looks bad, you pull him immediately. Because I think that he is the most likely pitcher to blow up badly on the Phillies.
I think that it's reverse, where I think you go Luzardo or Nola in whichever one of these games it is. Nola, if he gives up 4 runs in 4 innings, see ya. Put in Sanchez for the next 5. Mm-hmm. And he just goes the rest of the game. Same with Luzardo, because we saw a blow-up outing out of Luzardo. Mm-hmm. If he's starting to look bad, if he's tipping pitches or whatever was going on through those 2 starts, you pull him, you put in Sanchez, and you let him ride.
Yeah.
I just think he works better out of the bullpen come playoff time.
I can see where you're coming from. I think how Nola comes back will determine a lot of this.
I just think you can't put another righty in there.
Yeah, no, you can't.
And I wouldn't trust Nola on a 1-inning basis.
I agree with that as well. And it's just tough to see a world where either Luzardo or Sanchez is in the
suffering from success. The Phillies have the best rotation in the MLB.
I also love how Mick Abel has gone from being a Cy Young candidate to being traded in the span of 3 weeks.
I mean, no one was calling him a Cy Young candidate.
Well, no, future Cy Young winner. After 2 starts, and then he's traded after 3.
After the first start, I was already on the train to trade him. I don't know how it's gonna go, but he doesn't fit in. I want to re-sign Luzardo. I want to re-sign Suarez.
And you have Painter, who will be here at some point.
Yeah.
There's just no room for him.
I just think he's the odd man out. I would like to trade him at the deadline for an outfielder.
Who?
Jarren Duran.
Yeah, it's probably gonna happen. I feel like both teams are interested in it.
And then I would also like to trade a minor prospect for Taylor Ward because he's at this point in his career he's a right-handed power hitter. Yeah. Already something the Phillies need. And he's basically 2022 Schwarber this year. He's batting 205, but he's smashing home runs constantly. I think that's something the Phillies need. They have a lack of power hit. I guess that's another hot take, but
yeah, I'm only worried about that is I agree they have a lack of power hitting, but I think that I feel like power hitting is not as important in the playoffs. Almost, I just feel like you need guys on base. It's so hard to get guys on base. And if you have too many guys who are power hitters are going to be striking out, it's just not going to go well.
I just think having... I would really like Taylor Ward. Obviously, I think Jarren Duran does more for the lineup right now, but I think they need a righty. I think they need somebody who can hit power. Taylor Ward does both, and I just think that Angels are terrible, and it wouldn't really cost that much to get him. I think trading a minor level prospect for somebody who... I mean, he's on an expiring deal as well. He's 30, so the Angels really have no reason to keep him. I think a rental for somebody like that is going to just do wonders for the playoffs.
Speaking of the Angels, how much would you give up for Trout?
I wouldn't.
Really?
No.
Not.
I'd rather get Ward for the price. For the price. I mean, if you're
no, how much do you? Let's say Trout is available. What are you paying? Let's say what would be the maximum you're going to offer?
He's 36 years old and he's owed $50 million. I'm not giving Painter, Crawford, Tate. I'm not giving Eda Miller. I'm not giving Abel.
You wouldn't give it Abel?
No,
for Trout.
Not for Trout. I wouldn't give Abel for Taylor Ward.
Neither would I, but I think Trout.
Trout's 36 years old. I'm not giving McAbel for him.
I still see Trout.
I mean, I like Trout. I like Trout a lot, but he's too inconsistent.
Yeah.
I would rather have a player who is 10 years younger and doesn't get injured too much. Even if he's not going to be... Even if we're not acquiring an all-star. Like, Mike Trout might be an all-star this year.
Yeah.
But if the Phillies are going to acquire Mike Trout, they can't give up one of their top 5... Or one of their top 4, which are Painter, Miller, Crawford, Tate. And they can't give up Abel.
I don't know. I would give up Abel for 3 or 4 years of Trout.
But how many games? Like, 3 or 4 years might mean, like, 60 games.
Yeah. But, I don't know. I feel it depends on how this season goes. Okay. My last hot take for all of this. The Philadelphia 76ers will win the championship next year.
Seriously?
It was coming. I actually believe it.
No, are you serious?
I'm 100% serious. Because I just think... Actually, I'll change it. I'll be a little more conservative. I think they'll make the NBA Finals next year. I think the East is too bad. I really think the East is really bad. Like worse than... Even though they're saying the East is wide open this year, it's worse than anyone's saying. And I think that obviously healthy, they have the best roster in the East. And
yeah, but healthy... Like, to what degree of healthy even is Embiid? Like...
Well, yes. I'm willing to see what Embiid comes back with. But let's say that Embiid is playing 30 minutes a game in the regular season. He's healthy for the playoffs, and he's just like a 25-8 kind of guy now. He's not MVP anymore. He's like an all-star, but he's like not. He's not like a shell of himself, but he's not what he fully was. And George is what we saw last year, just mediocre.
Yeah,
mediocre.
I think you're right about the East being wide open. I think you're right about the Sixers being good. Mm-hmm. I just think the Knicks are gonna be able to just take down the Sixers again.
Who's their coach?
And who's their coach? I mean, it doesn't matter. Nick Nurse was awful last year.
Yeah,
a Daryl Morey team will never win the championship.
I don't know. I just feel like the Knicks. I don't know. I can't see that the Knicks win make it to the final just because I don't think that.
But the East sucks, and I don't think the Sixers.
They don't call the same fouls in the playoffs in the regular season, and obviously it hurt Jalen Brunson a lot because he was just not able to do the same thing without him like running into you and falling backwards and going to the line. I think the Tibbs held that team together to a certain degree. And I just think that if things go badly, there's already trade rumors out. It's the Knicks. They're so. They can't be competent.
Even the Pacers without Halliburton.
No, that's not even.
No, I'm serious. I think that's a good team. I think that's a playoff team.
It's a playoff team, but it's not an NBA Finals team.
I mean, that's what we said about the Pacers with Halliburton. Why not without Halliburton?
Well, because Halliburton's their second best player, and he's the heart of their team.
I don't know. I just can't see it. I guess I've just been hurt too much by the Sixers. I think that Daryl Morey's a terrible GM. I think whatever he does in the offseason will somehow mess it up. I hated the Paul George signing. But, I just can't see it. I guess maybe, too many things have the ability to go wrong.
Yeah.
McCain could be a different player with his injury. And Embiid could get hurt. George could suck. VJ Edgecombe could be a bust. So many things could go wrong. I just can't see it. But I don't know. We may come back to this in 6 months and
if Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey are healthy come playoff time, there's there's no ceiling on what they can do in the East at least. Their competition is a Knicks team, which we don't know will look. They might make another trade this offseason. We don't know who their coach is. We don't. They looked a little bit like fraud-ish in the playoffs. And then you have the Celtics, who are a shell of themselves, at least for next year.
They just traded Porzingis and Holiday, and they won't have Tatum. So.
Yeah. You have the Cavs, who look terrible in the playoffs, and I don't think are.
Hey, but they have Lonzo.
They have Lonzo now, which changes everything. They're going all in.
Yeah, they're going 82-0.
Yeah, but the Magic look like a possible contender. I think there's enough experience.
They gave up way too much for Desmond Bain.
No, they didn't.
Okay. That's the topic for another time.
Yeah. I think that their competition isn't, and the Bucks obviously don't have Dame.
Yeah, I don't think and what's happening to Giannis, but
I think by 2 months into the year next year, we'll know who the contenders for the East are because there aren't any right now. I
see the Sixers are firmly as a playoff team that is going to be above the plan.
I see them as I think they're either making a run or they're going to be the same mission they were this year.
I could see them making the Eastern Conference Finals. I just don't. There are too many what ifs for them.
There's so many what ifs for every team, And, like, I think we have a higher ceiling than most of the teams.
Ceiling isn't everything, though. I think, the Sixers were title favorites at a point in last year.
That happened.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, on to the next segment, a very important one in recent Philadelphia sports. The top 10 Philadelphia athletes
currently,
regardless of sport.
WIP did this. They did one thing that I disagree with. Like, I would fight somebody over this. Is that they put offensive line as one person. That's 5 people.
Yes, it is 5 people. Yeah. 2 of them deserve to be on the list.
2 of them are going to be on this list for both of us.
Yes, and I think that we will disagree a bunch on this list because they will look entirely different.
All right, let's get into it. My number 10 is Joel Embiid.
That is stupid. I'm just like, I don't get the hate at this point. I mean, That's not hate. That's higher than most people would put him. I did an Instagram reel about this, and I got so many comments that, Joel Embiid shouldn't even be on here. Like, I think that's high for Joel Embiid, but I am. Well, I think that you are not the biggest hater, but there are people who don't think he can be on the list. It's just stupid. 18 months ago, he's the best player in the NBA.
I don't disagree with you.
And obviously he wasn't what he used to be. And I just think that with a full season of rest basically, and like new surgeries and all that stuff, I don't see why he can't at least be a somewhat version of himself. Like, he has an MVP. How many athletes in Philadelphia have an MVP?
Jalen Hurts has a championship.
I'm talking about current players. How many players have been the best player in the league at any given point? Bryce Harper,
Saquon.
Yeah, that's it. I don't have him top 3, but I think that we have to respect that to some degree.
Okay. I just can't put a guy who missed an entire season higher than 10. I think he still has the ability to be amazing. I think he is anyone who hates on Joel Embiid, who says he's soft, they're wrong.
Yes.
I will defend Joel Embiid at the end of the earth, but I won't put him higher than 10.
Obviously, I'd put him much higher than that.
All right, who's your 10?
My number 10 is AJ Brown.
Okay. I respect that. And especially knowing that you have Embiid above him, I've already accepted that, and I'm fine with it.
I just think that, especially you'll see, because I have other non-Eagles athletes, I think AJ Brown's really good, but I think it's really tough to do a sport where you have 22 starters, and I think AJ Brown's really good. I just don't think he is, like, if you rank the most impactful players in the NFL, I don't think he's a top 25 guy on that list.
Well, impactful is different from good.
Yes, there is to that.
If it was impactful, I don't think any offensive lineman would be on the list.
Well, yes, but I think that he's a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL.
He is top 3.
And I think that their offense is so good it helps him in some ways. And people forget he just was not there for some games last year.
I mean, I think seeing what their record is like without him.
Yeah.
But I mean, I have him at 9, so he's my number 9.
He's your number 9. Yeah, I think it's respectable. I think he's in a 9 or 10 spot. And I think that my number 9 will make you very upset.
All right, let's hear it.
I bet he is top 5 on your list. Jalen Carter is my number 9.
He's just better than that. He's the best player on the Eagles defense. He's the top 5 defensive tackle in the league.
I don't think he's the best player on the Eagles defense.
Okay, well, I mean, I have 2 players in the Eagles defense coming up. One of them's Carter, but he's just the reason the Eagles win the Super Bowl this year. Like, I can't stress that enough.
I know, but I mean, obviously that one play he saved the Eagles season, but I don't know. I just feel like I think he is probably a top 5 defensive tackle in the NFL.
Yes, he is.
I just don't think, without him, the pressure would obviously be a lot worse because there's just the threat of Jalen Carter. But I think, the great players can overcome just being, the threat and they need to double team you. You need to, fight through those double teams more often, I think.
I think nobody on the Eagles defense or even on a defense in the league other than Myles Garrett or TJ Watt can elevate the players around him so much. Jalen Carter, I think Jalen Hunt is good, but Jalen Carter being next to him makes him so much better.
Yeah, I agree with that. I just think that guys like TJ Watt and Myles Garrett can elevate the players around them and elevate themselves, and I just think that Jalen Carter can't elevate himself to a point.
I mean, but how many other than sacks, what are you going to look for as a stat as defensive tackle? Minor interruption.
Yeah.
Other than those 2 guys, Jalen Carter, you can't. look for stats about a defensive tackle like for sacks.
Obviously.
But he's just a monster.
I know. I just feel like, especially with defensive line, I feel like there are certain times in games where they just won't like Jalen Carter makes the big plays, but like the pressure he provides isn't always noticeable for the whole game.
Okay.
Number 8.
Zach Bond.
I have Zach Bond at 7, but I'll get to that.
Who do you have at 8?
Tyrese Maxey.
That's unbelievable.
I think that Tyrese Maxey is a top 25 NBA player.
Wait, so that means you don't have someone that I have in my top 7 on your list at all. That is
true.
Yeah, because you said
Did I forget someone?
You must have, because there's no way Maxey's top 10. I wouldn't even have him 11 or 12.
Really?
No,
I don't.
Right off of my list, I have Schwarber and Turner.
I think he's better than both those players. He's more consistent than them. He shows up when they need him to. He obviously in longer stretches he has not been good as their number 1 option, but Schwarber Turner has never been the Phillies' best player.
I mean, Turner is right now.
Yeah.
Schwarber it has been for this entire season.
I mean, there is something to that, but Maxey, that Knicks playoff series proved to me that Maxey can and will be an All-NBA level player at some point, whenever it comes. I think right now, going into next year, my expectation is he will be a 30-point-a-game scorer.
I think that is a bit of an over-exaggeration. I think this list is kind of showing a bit of Sixers bias from you.
Yeah.
I just think Maxey isn't a top 10 player in Philly sports right now. He's not, maybe on impactful or biggest players. Everyone loves Maxey. He's not in skill a top 10 player in Philly.
I think he is, though. I mean, obviously, I might have forgotten someone, which probably won't look good in a little bit, but yeah. Well, let's move on from that. So my number 7 is Zach Bond.
My number 7 is another Zach Wheeler.
I didn't put Zach Wheeler on there.
That is insane.
I regret that now. I think if you just move him in for Maxey's spot.
So you would have Zach at 8.
I'm thinking about Maxey. I'm just thinking. I think about if you think about current production, you probably don't have him in your top 10.
Yeah, I mean,
I think I'm just so high on him. I feel like I didn't value current production enough, and that's also I just forgot about Zach Wheeler existed.
Yeah, I mean, I had Zach Wheeler at 6 for a while. I bumped him down 1 spot. I bumped my number 7 up 1 spot. Mm-hmm. I just Zach Wheeler is a top 3 pitcher in the league.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think he's a great pitcher. I mean,
yeah.
I apologize to the viewers.
Yeah, he's been the Phillies' best player in the playoffs in their last 2 seasons.
Yes. Okay, I think this pick will make you even more mad. My next one.
Number 6?
Yeah,
I have Jalen Hurts.
I do not have Jalen Hurts. I have Bryce Harper.
So 2 faces of Philadelphia sports. I just think Jalen Hurts, he's amazing. He's a Super Bowl MVP. He is the top 5 quarterback in the NFL. I just don't think that
he doesn't get enough credit. I think he is.
No, I think he is great, and I mean I'm giving him credit. I'm saying he's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. If you gave me the opportunity to trade Jalen Hurts for Joe Burrow, I would say no.
That's tough. I think for the system, I would say no. I think the system works better around Jalen Hurts than it would Joe Burrow. I just think that he's such they built their offense around him. I just think that he everyone's better than Jalen Hurts until it comes to beating Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. I just think Philly's athletes are so stacked right now.
I know, but the quarterback's by far the most important position on the field, and I just think that you have to respect Jalen Hurts.
I think in impactful Philadelphia players, Jalen Hurts is number 1, and it's not even close.
I agree with that. But
in best Philadelphia athletes, I think the 5 guys that I have above Jalen Hurts are all top 1 or top 2 at their position in their sport.
Okay.
So, and Jalen Hurts is not top 1 or top 2. So I would have to put Jalen at number 6.
Okay. Now for number 5, here's where I am.
Wait, who do you have at number 6?
I said Bryce.
Oh, you have Bryce Harper.
I just think that this season, and I feel like over the past season, he hasn't always been the best player in the Phillies. And I just think that he needs to be more consistent. He's a great player when he's great, but he is a good player when he's not great.
I mean, when is he not great is the question. He's not great when he's... This year he's been pretty dang good.
But, I just feel like he is, for to be top 5, you have to be top, top couple of spots at your position, which I think he probably orders
look, he's not better than Vladimir Guerrero.
No.
He's not better right now at this very moment. He's not better than Pete Alonso.
No.
He's a better player than Pete Alonso. Pete Alonso is having a better season.
I agree with that.
And Freddie Freeman is also better.
Okay.
Yes. Freddie Freeman just destroyed the World Series.
Yeah.
He's a better player than Bryce Harper right now.
I just don't.
I think as a first baseman in the league, I would rank Bryce Harper 3. Well, I guess my statement about being top 2 is not true.
Yeah.
But Bryce Harper is 2 or 3. Vladimir Guerrero is the best first baseman in the MLB.
In Houston, Philadelphia sense, he's a little bit overrated because he's the face of the Phillies.
I will get to my reason for Bryce Harper when I get to my reason for Bryce Harper, but I get your reasoning.
Okay. And my number... Should we go number 5 now?
Sure. I have Jordan Mailata.
I have Joel Embiid.
Okay.
So, I just think that... I think that he is really just... The Sixers mismanaged him, I felt like, more so than himself. Like, coming off of... So, he was the best player in the NBA. He was on pace to easily win the MVP the year they lost to the Knicks.
He was putting up 40 and, 15 for a month?
Oh, yeah. He averaged, 30 and 12 on the year. Like, no one does that. Like, he was averaging the most, points since Kobe, I think.
It's insane.
And then he gets hurt. Pretty serious injury. And they rush him back.
And he still did really good in the playoffs.
And he was playing on one leg, amazing in the playoffs. Then goes immediately to play in the Olympics. Looked not great.
No,
and was obviously not ready for it. And then he rushes back to be ready in time for the next year. I mean, for this year, wasn't ready. Rushed it even more, and he was just a mess. I don't.
Yeah, but that mess is why he's my number 10.
Yes, but
I don't see him ever being an MVP again, ever, or even close.
I think there's a point to that, but I still think he's an unknown. We could never see him play on a basketball court again, or we could see him be the best player in the league again. I just think that he's gotten hurt so many times that why is this one so much different, especially if he's had more time to recover than he has from any of the other injuries.
Yeah, you mentioned the unknown. I think the unknown is why I can't put him in my top 5. And also, he hasn't played.
Played 21 games last year?
How are you going to justify putting a guy who played 21 games last year and wasn't, an MVP level player in those 21 games over Bryce Harper?
I just think that... I just view the last year and a half as a wash almost. He's older, obviously, which makes this injury a little bit harder to come back from. But the reports coming out was looking really good. He's supposed to be ready by training camp, which I just think that we're in the off season, obviously. I just think that if he's back next year, there's no reason why he's not top 5.
I can see a reason, but honestly, I used to think that I was one of the biggest Joel Embiid defenders in the world. Mm-hmm. I have now learned that I am not.
No. I will continue to be him. I hate everyone doesn't like him. Everyone views him as soft. He has played on one leg. He has played with a broken face, a paralyzed face. He has done things that are so... he has played while injured so much. It's reckless and it's almost stupid to a point. I just don't get why he doesn't receive the respect that are Philly athletes.
No, I'm so ready to give him respect. Anyone calling him soft is just dumb. He's played through... how is playing through injuries soft?
Yeah, he obviously hasn't won the championship yet. I just think that the whole second round stigma is really hurting him.
And that's not just on him.
That Kawhi shot probably cost him an NBA Finals run, and it's kind of sad because they were so good that year.
Yeah.
And
hopefully VJ Edgecombe can just be the new Jimmy Butler, but
maybe. But I think you have guys which gives them Brian Dawkins and Allen Iverson are loved by Philadelphians, and they never won a championship with us. They both lost in the championship game or NBA Finals.
Yeah, Joel Embiid's gonna be Hall of Famer. Both of those guys are Hall of Famers. So.
Yeah. I just feel like he doesn't get the credit he deserves for probably, out of these guys, he might have the best career.
Out of what do you mean these guys? Dawkins, Iverson?
No, all of the top 10 guys.
Oh, career? I don't know. Bryce Harper has 2 MVPs.
Yeah, there's that. Other than Bryce Harper, who has a better resume than he does if you just not include, obviously championships, but
Lane Johnson's a 2-time Super Bowl champ. And he's been the best tackle in the NFL ever.
Tackle can't win. The best.
He could win. He. I know he's not gonna win. It's gonna go to Sewell or maybe Creed Humphrey, but he should win Protector of the Year next year because that's a new thing. But yeah. So number 5, I have Mailata. Just
yeah. I have Mailata number 4. So.
Okay, so yeah, Mailata, he's one of the best offensive tackles in the game. Just a force. Like the run game isn't as good as it is without Mailata, and Jalen Hurts isn't as good of a quarterback without Mailata and Lane Johnson, who is coming. But yeah, offensive line is just so key.
I mean, what is he? He's top 3 left tackle.
Top 2,
just behind Sewell.
Sewell's right.
Oh yeah.
Wirfs, Trent Williams. I would put Mailata over him right now.
Yeah,
Tristan Wirfs is really, really good.
I actually would go with Williams, Mailata, Wirfs. That's a different day. I just love Trent Williams. But.
Yeah, but Mailata is you can't argue with what he's done. He's just so good. He was the number 1 graded offensive tackle last year by PFF.
I think he has an argument for like I feel like by the end of his career we could see him have 5, 6 first team All Pros.
Yeah, and protector of the years. He deserves every penny of the contract.
I think he is also more likely to be a protector of the year than Lane Johnson just because of media narratives and stuff.
And because he is a left tackle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to number 3.
4. I have Jalen Carter.
You have Jalen Carter at 4. I obviously disagree with you on this.
Extremely underrated, Jalen Carter.
I think he is properly rated. I just think that it's hard for a defensive tackle to be as good as a edge would be or a cornerback. I think.
Yeah, it is hard, and Jalen Carter does it. Which he is the best player on the Eagles' defense without a doubt. I mean, I know Zach Bond was a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year and should have won it, but Jalen Carter is 23 years old, and apparently he hasn't even really learned how to play a defensive tackle position yet. He's going to be one of the greatest ever. I mean, I'm just putting my flag down on Jalen Carter is going to be one of the greatest.
I think he could probably. He should be the odds-on favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year
this year. Yeah.
I just think that. He's so young. I don't see a world where he's not a first-team All-Pro for many years to come.
He has the best combination of talent and age of any defensive player in the NFL.
Yeah.
There's not a younger, better defensive player in the NFL
there's not.
than him. No.
So number 3.
Lane Johnson.
I have Jalen Hurts here. I think that quarterback is by far the most important position. I mean, no matter how stacked your offense is, I couldn't go out there and play quarterback. I think that you saw him as soon as they put Kenny Pickett into the game, they looked terrible.
Yeah, no, they looked awful. I mean, other than when they were playing the Cowboys and Giants, but
I'm in that commies game.
Yeah. No, because they were actually playing a good team.
Yeah.
But Lane Johnson, same story as Mailata. He's just a little bit better.
Yeah, I think Lane Johnson's the best offensive lineman in the NFL.
He is.
I guess positions matter, but he just is. He's so much better than everyone else.
And he has been for his, ever since, 2018.
Yeah, I think that Jalen Hurts, I just think that everyone hates on him because he just wins.
Yeah, I love Jalen Hurts. He's my favorite player in all of sports right now and forever. But I have a hard time confusing... Well, I'm not confusing, but I have a hard time, showing the difference between great, being good at your position and being important. And I think Jalen Hurts is more important than anyone on this list by far, but he is not as good as them at his position.
I agree. And I don't know. I just feel like I think that people just say, well, if you put Justin Herbert in this role, you do
Justin Herbert's one of the most overrated players.
I agree with that as well. I just don't. I think he has a winning mentality that Josh Allen doesn't have. Lamar Jackson doesn't have it. Joe Burrow doesn't have it.
I have a hard time saying Josh Allen doesn't have it, but Lamar and Burrow do not.
I mean, there's a reason Lamar and Josh Allen just haven't made a Super Bowl.
I mean, the reason is because Josh Allen has no one.
But
there's a reason Lamar has not made a Super Bowl, and it's because of Lamar. But there's a reason that Josh Allen has not made a Super Bowl, and it's because of the Bills.
Josh Allen's probably the best quarterback.
Josh Allen is the best quarterback in the NFL, easily.
But Lamar, you've got Lamar who just can't put games away, and Josh Allen obviously has the worst team around him, but these guys have had shots to win games, and they just haven't done that. And Jalen Hurts is clinical when it comes to clutch time.
If someone came in this room and told me that they think Jalen Hurts is better than Lamar Jackson, I would understand where they're coming from. I would disagree, but I would understand them.
Yeah, I mean, there's a difference between, like, I guess Saquon, Derrick Henry are both very good, but the receivers, I mean, there's been Rashad Bateman and Devontae Smith, but...
I mean, but also Lamar has so much more help. The Ravens had the most All-Pros last year. I mean, the Eagles, everyone's saying they were a super team, but the Ravens, they had more All-Pros.
Yeah. I mean, I think the Eagles probably the best roster in the NFL.
Easily. And they don't obviously get the credit they deserve. But.
Yeah, I think that the Ravens, like, I think the biggest argument is that Josh Allen's really good, Patrick Mahomes is better. And I think past that, like, Joe Burrow can't win games, it seems like. I mean, maybe just the defense is that bad. But Lamar just doesn't seem to show up when it matters most. I mean, obviously that drop was Mark Andrews' fault, but, I mean, step it up.
I mean, on paper, it looks like this year's Super Bowl, just based on teams, is going to be the Eagles versus the Ravens. I have a hard time believing that Lamar Jackson will ever make a Super Bowl in his career.
Yeah, I mean... Like, he's had plenty of opportunities. I mean, also the Tennessee Titans in the playoffs. Like, who's the Ryan Tannehill in the playoffs?
Tom Brady?
I mean, that's it. But he was like old man by then.
Yeah. Like, no, I have no problem with putting Jalen Hurts here. I just wouldn't.
Okay. And I think have a different 1 and 2.
I have number 2. I mean, when we say who number 2 is, everyone will know who our number 1 is. But so, for number 2, I have Bryce Harper, and for number 1, I have Saquon Barkley.
So for number 2, I have Saquon Barkley, and number 1, I have Wayne Johnson.
All right, so I think Saquon has got to be number 1. He just won Offensive Player of the Year. It's the most recent award won by a Philadelphia sports player. I think Bryce Harper has to be number 2 just for his heroics in the playoffs. He's one of the best Philadelphia playoff performers in the history of Philly sports. And he's the face of the Phillies franchise. He's won an MVP for Philly, and other than this like lingering injury that has been happening to him, he has his production, has really not dropped off at all.
Yeah, my only thing is that it's really tough to compare positions across teams, but I just think that I think that Saquon and Wayne have to be the top 2 because they're the only players in Philadelphia that are the best at their positions, and you can't really debate that.
Yeah.
And
Bryce Harper objectively is not the best first baseman in the MLB, but I just think he's just so good, and I mean the Phillies. I feel like it would be a betrayal to myself to have 2 Phillies or to have 2 Eagles at the top 2 just because I love the Phillies so much. But I truly think Harper is just. He's the face of Philadelphia. Like, if you had to pick one player to represent a Philly sport, it would be Bryce Harper.
Yeah, I think he's more of the face, but if you go by pure skill,
I suppose so. Yeah, I did make that argument about that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, yeah, I definitely understand having Lane at 2, or having Lane at 1, actually. Like, I feel like that's a good take, like I said earlier, but I just disagree. I think it has to be
And my
Saquon.
only reason for Lane over Saquon is that Wayne has been more consistent and prolonged the best of his
That's
position.
true. It has only been one year for Saquon.
Yeah, I mean, Saquon's had great years before, but not as good as this one. And I just think that Lane Johnson's arguably been the best tackle left or right.
Yeah.
If
Lane Johnson doesn't go to the Hall of Fame, it will be a robbery.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way he doesn't. I don't see a world.
I see a world. It's not a world I want to be in, but it is a world that I can. I can see.
Who was the last offensive lineman to get into the Hall of Fame?
No idea.
Okay.
So those are our lists. Let's go back through them again. I have 10 Embiid, 9 AJ Brown, 8 Zach Bond, 7 Zach Wheeler, 6 Jalen Hurts, 5 Jordan Mailata, 4 Jalen Carter, 3 Lane Johnson, 2 Bryce Harper, 1 Saquon Barkley.
In my top 10 were AJ Brown, Jalen Carter, Tyrese Maxey, Zach Bond, Bryce Harper, Joel Embiid, Jordan Mailata, Jalen Hurts, Saquon, and Lane Johnson. Note, I forgot Zach Wheeler was a person for most of this list, so I would have had him on there.
That is good to know.
Any closing thoughts?
Go Birds.
My closing thought is that Gershon Yabusele, please resign.
Please resign. Please resign.
And also Grimes as well. I think that if we were to go anywhere, we need depth. Both the NBA Finals teams have shown that so far, and I think that we need to resign both of them. So take a hometown discount? ? I mean,
actual closing thought: Flyers, get another center, please. I want to see playoff hockey again.
That's it for the first episode of Trust the Podcast.
I'm Jonah, along with my co-host Noah. We will see you next time on Trust the Podcast.